speaker, just request. If you want to be a listener, that's also fine. We are live right now on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Twitch. And yeah, you can either listen in on the Twitter space or
bank higher. You was the man prior, but you couldn't match this fire. So I made your plans retire. Ngithandazela impumelelo, impumelelo. Ngikhulekela inkululeko, inkululeko.
let me know what's up. We're going to be talking about how we're really feeling. And here's hoping that everyone feels empowered enough to openly speak, you know? To speak very openly about what you might be going through. Mchuchuzeli Mwelas on Facebook with a heart emoji. I love you too, man. I don't know you, but I love you. Valdo's JB Juice Pack. Love, brother. Ain't nothing but. There's no space for anything else. Big shout out to everyone who's joining in on Twitter. The space is called Communion 4. How are you really? Because we always ask each other this question, but we never really ask this question, and you know, the person asking never really expects an answer, and the person being asked never really feels like the person actually wants the answer, you know? We're so well conditioned saying, how are you? I'm fine. And that's not how it should be. So let's get the show on the road. Thank you for joining me on Twitter. My very first Twitter space ever. Shout out to Days of Dark, I think. Ntanta, Buitoko, all of you who are tuned in and listening. If you would like to talk, if you'd like to share, and you can start by saying you would, before I mention your name, if you want to talk, start by saying you want to remain anonymous. If you want to remain anonymous, and then I won't say your name. So anyone who's watching and listening on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch will not know who you are, and you can just get something off your mind. Congratulations, job bless, big ups. All right, let's get the show started, and I can tell you what the rules are because someone's already breaking them even though they're on the description. This is really about just people sharing how they're doing. When I say how are you, I genuinely mean it. I want to start with I love you, you matter, I hope you feel it, I hope you know it.
Cause niggas gotta eat when vampires gotta feed, empires gotta bleed. Thank God I got my queen. When I have her, when I need, she inspires how I lead. I'll never tire while she breathes. You came from the gallows and sorrow, but just know tomorrow does not know your pain. Yeah, it's a hard act to follow. They got on you, I know, but your door will not be the same. You gotta take it like a bad bitch. Fuck a genie, you can make it how you damn wish. And you don't need a nigga, cause we ain't shit. And you knew it, I know you did, you knew it since high school. You knew he was quite cool, but stupid for you knew it. You was going through night school, and he was going through you with fists like 5 goons. You healed, but your mind, heart, and soul are quite bruised, I see it. I'm glad to say I never did that, but if I let my brother do it, I assisted in that. So when they say that men are trash, don't get mad. Ask yourself what kind of pain would make the mother of your son do that.
He's back. MarazA's is back. He's been a problem.
I just hope you're still alive for the song. I just hope you let the vibe of the song dry your eyes and make it strong. And know the better men will rise. It won't be long. Well, I hope it won't be long, cause when my daughter's a woman, I might be gone.
I can't see Lento Longani. Please explain nyana nje. All right, I will explain happily. First of all, Vikila Impela Deben II, welcome. Sporter Chris Lukele, welcome. You say you missed a lot of these. It's okay, man. You're here now, and that is what matters. But I don't even know whether to hit the sound effects or not. So Vikila Mbela, this space is about. I really wanted to create an outlet where we could just talk. Where we could just talk openly, Ushuguti, what's going on be it in your life, be it in your week, be it in your family, be it in your internal being. What is going on? What are you facing? What are you going through? What's weighing on you? Sorry, I just said your name out loud. I just want to hear if I can hear you. We're connecting right now. Please excuse me, I'm fusing these two things. I'm fusing it with the Twitter space as well. And to the person who just requested, you are now allowed to speak. Your mic is muted. I just want to see.
Hello.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
That's perfect. Thank you so much.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Ntanta. Hi. How you doing?
Hi, I'm good. I just wanted to confirm that the sound is okay.
Okay. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. I appreciate that. But Ntanta, how are you really? Are you really good? Are you able to share? Do you want to share? You don't have to.
Yeah, I'm doing okay. I can say okay is the best description because there's nothing really exciting happening or anything like that. But I've experienced like in the past when people do ask like how are you, they don't really care to know actually how you are. It's just
Yeah, that's true.
about like yeah just for the to get the conversation going, or even it's a part of greeting now, like how are you, I'm okay, and then we move on with our lives. It's like the next hello.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We're not really asking so we know how you are. We're asking because that's just part of the greeting.
Yeah. Like I remember someone once asked me how are you, and I actually told them, but then it like I was not doing well at the time. So then it sort of became, a different disposition, like, oh no, you should be more positive and stuff like that. But you asked me how I am, and I was
I
just being
told you,
honest with
yeah.
where I was. So it was just, yeah, so it just became more reluctant to share, I guess. Yeah.
I can understand.
That's all I have to say.
Yeah, Ntanta, first of all, even though you're in a good space now, thank you so much for ukuba open about a space that you once were in, and I absolutely understand your reluctance to share, because even though sometimes, no, we don't want to be, you don't want to tabugelwa, you don't want pity, but when someone asks you how
Yeah.
you're doing and you say it, sometimes all you want is just for someone to hear you,
To listen.
to listen, and acknowledge that you're not crazy, that you matter, and what you're going through is actually what you're going through. And there can be motivation, but not to say, hey, you need to be more positive, hey, because that makes it sound like it's your fault. It's like the reason you're not okay is because you're not looking at things the right way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Without saying what it was you were going through, did you manage to work through it? Are you feeling better now?
Now I'm kind of okay. Like I just said, I'm just like I'm not in an excited place or anything. I'm just okay where I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when people do ask me like with starting out with that question, how are you? I just say okay for the sake of yeah,
Whether you are okay or not.
that
Yeah.
or not, yeah.
Well, look, Ndanda, when I say how are you, I really mean it, and I understand that a lot of people just say how are you for the sake of saying how are you, and we say we're okay for the sake of saying we're okay. It's human nature. It's how we've become, but hopefully we can start to build, spaces and a community where when someone asks you how you are and you tell them how you are, they take that seriously, regardless of whether they're able to help or not. Just to feel Usungazo on YouTube just said to you, hi, Ntanta, and they agree that you just said
Hello.
how you were. Ngazu, Ntanta says hello, I'm sure you can hear. Um, it says to feel validated, so they agree with you there. Tabiso SBK Sbego on Facebook also agrees with you. So does Simon on Facebook. So you're not crazy. You were asked how you were. You said exactly how you were. How they took it after that is is up to them. But you were not wrong to do what you did. Thank you for sharing.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you can keep listening. I'll keep your mic on. If you want to speak at a later stage, you can. Don't worry about it. This is a very open platform. So I wanna throw it out there to you guys before I start, because I want to lead by example. What the Sngazu? Jeez, man. Okay, I was not expecting that. Big shout out to Sngazu. Sngazu, ungixolele. I'm reluctant to mention this. Everyone on YouTube can see it. I really appreciate it. I really, really do appreciate it.
Pull up to the bendo like whoa. Flexing and finessing at the show.
Wow, there's so many alerts. There's two alerts on top of each other. Okay, let's get rid of one. All right, Sngazu, thank you so much. I do appreciate it. I'm reluctant to mention it because I really just I don't want other people to start feeling like, okay, F it, I'm gonna do it. Shout out to Sungazu for the 35 Rand donation on YouTube super chat. I really appreciate your support. There's other live streams on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. On Tuesday we do the kitchen. Wednesday it's We Want Words. It's a freestyle slash song review session. And on Thursday it's called The Game. We break down ways to get into it. But ngiyabonga kakhulu Sngazu. Anyone else, don't feel pressured to do it, especially on this one. And I want to share what the communion is about. And this platform is really important for me for various reasons. I started this platform last year, but it was called something different. It was called From Boys to Men. And it wasn't a platform for boys. It was a platform for everyone, so that we could all contribute to raising young boys into men. So I started it, and I would speak on Wednesdays, and I would just speak on things that are affecting our country, things that are affecting our sisters, things that are affecting our little boys, and how little boys can grow into better men, and how little boys can not only just for the betterment of society, but for the betterment of themselves. Because when you better yourself, and it is not easy, it is not easy to better yourself. When you better yourself and everyone around you betters themselves, if we all better ourselves, we end up with a better community. I come from a place where you couldn't skip school without, abantu abadala seeing you and asking you, why aren't you at school when it's 12 during the day? And I strongly believe that it takes a village to raise a child. And unfortunately, these days, we live in villages that don't really care as much. Maybe not villages, but those of us who live in the city, we don't care that much. And even in the villages, man, the old ways are dying. And part of it is, crime is infiltrating everywhere. People want to keep their families safe, and often we retreat back into ourselves for safety. If you look at this place that I've built around me here, please excuse my beard. I'm gonna tell you why I haven't shaved in a week, because I know it just made a noise on the microphone. But I haven't shaved in a week because I've been thinking about it a lot, and there's been a lot on my mind. But yeah, so what happened instead was it became this whole war. Boys to Men started having. There was a few incidents where I had some sisters come in and they were angry that I was speaking to young boys and men and showing compassion towards them. And you'd get the whole men are trash in the comments, and at some point someone called me a rape sympathizer. Oh man, I shouldn't have said that word. I hope Twitch doesn't catch it, because no one cares about context. And there was just a lot of negative feedback from certain people, and it really affected me in a major way, because what I really wanted to do was just create a platform that was open and a platform that was about growing, and a platform that was about us becoming better. And at the time, and it still feels like that to this day, it's almost wrong to speak on behalf of men. And I speak on behalf of people. I speak on behalf of everyone. And no one cares when I speak on behalf of women. But when I speak on behalf of men in issues concerning men and women, it's an issue. But when I speak on behalf of women in cases concerning men and women, it's heralded, it's clapped for. And I really think that we need to get to a point where it shouldn't matter who you're speaking for. What matters is what you're saying. Who you're speaking for, who you're speaking against. The characteristics of that individual shouldn't matter. What matters are the circumstances and what you're saying. And Unhlanhla here, I could have easily assumed Unhlanhla was a man, because Unhlanhla is a unisex name in the Zulu language. Thank you for sharing, by the way, Unhlanhla. Could have easily assumed Unhlanhla was a guy. Unhlanhla is a girl. But I still can't assume what it is that they were going through, I still couldn't assume what they were going through. I just know that Unhlanhla is a human being who was having an experience, and the experience was not a pleasant one. And someone asked them how they felt, and they tried to share it, but that person really did not want to know. Or that person wasn't really trying to know. I also don't want to blame the person who said, "How are you?" and got told, because they were probably caught off guard, because we use the phrase, "How are you?" so loosely. We never really mean it. But it's not because we're pretentious people. It's because it's just part of the language and part of the lexicon and part of the sequence of greeting. So next time you ask someone how they are, you might not necessarily be wanting to know exactly how they are, but maybe start making space to hear how they are. You know, hi, how are you? You don't expect it to go further than that. But if it does, listen. And when you're done listening, it's not everyone that wants advice. It's not everyone that wants a path forward. Akusiwona wonke umuntu ofuna ukuthi uthi mangabe usukhulume naye umdabukele noma uthi mangabe sekutshelile indaba inkinga yakhe bese uqhamuka ne-solution. Kwesinye isikhathi kumnandi, it's comforting to have another human being hear you and acknowledge you. And this is going to bring us into how I'm feeling. But as Zulwini, we have something very important. I love this. There's so much to love about South African cultures. Ngazo, I hope you're still with me. There's so much to love about South African cultures and Nguni cultures. And nginabangani that I met on PlayStation, abanye babo babelungu. So abanye babo bawoqonqa babelungu. And when they ask me about my heritage and my culture and my tradition, by the way, Vusmuzi Miagayaga, I saw your message. I'm not going to respond to it because this is not the space for whatever nonsense you're trying to start there. First of all, angwazi utubani, and I don't know which WhatsApp you're talking about. If there's you can see me. I'm not looking at a phone. If you sent a WhatsApp to the phone number, just say, hey, I sent a WhatsApp. Don't be like that. Spa Mapara, I appreciate your love. Today, I am not doing that. I'm sorry. Today, I want you guys to have a conversation with Spa Mandla. And I don't want to use this particular platform, especially on this particular day, to promote things, what I'm known for. I'll do that on Tuesday when we have the kitchen, or Wednesday or whatever. But feel free to ask me on again after the show and I'll answer you. I don't think your question is invalid. I just really want us to focus on things more substantial than something related to entertainment and fame. Even though entertainment and fame is going to come into this. So I would explain to these friends of mine that I met on the PlayStation network. As you can see, there's a PlayStation right there behind me. And I was teaching them how to say hello in my culture. By the way, Singazu, for anyone who doesn't know, Singazu means gorgeous, okay? It's not just beautiful, it's gorgeous. Uyisingazu. And it's almost a term reserved for women in my culture. It's almost a term reserved for women. I say almost because I don't know if women use it for us. I don't think we need it, you know. Actually, we have our own, yeah. A really gorgeous lady is called Singazu, and a really handsome guy is called Ikeza, you know. So it's a beautiful thing. In my culture, when we greet each other, we say this is important. And I don't think we take into account what that means often. Okay, Google, turn all lights red. I don't think we take into account what that means.
Changing 18 lights to red.
You don't have to speak about it.
It looks like 5 lights aren't available right now.
I don't think we take seriously what that means. And when we greet someone who says Sawubona, take a moment to absorb that. Sawubona. If you know what that means, take a moment to absorb it. Why did our ancestors decide, ukuthi, when you see another human being, when emphasis on see, the way that you're going to greet them, the way that you're going to acknowledge them is by saying, Sawubona. Oh, there's a request. I'm so sorry about that, Mkhulu Hefner. Welcome to it. You are now able to speak. Sorry, I hope I didn't see your request too late. When you see someone, you say Sawubona, and that means I see you. There's so much power and weight in that. In I see you. I see you. You exist. You are valid. You are here. And not only that, but I am here with you. And I am present with you. Ngiyakubona. I see you. Sawubona. We can unpack that in so many ways, but for me, it feels like it opens such a wide bridge for human interaction and expression. You know? And once you've acknowledged another human being, once you've humanized them, all of my speakers on Twitter, you can speak whenever you'd like. Just say, can I say something? And then I'll pay attention to you. But none of your mics are muted by me. They're muted by yourselves. When you see someone and you say to them, I see you, you are acknowledging not only their presence, but also their humanity. And when acknowledging their humanity, it goes hand in hand with acknowledging their worth, with acknowledging their value. And when you acknowledge their worth and their value, it also goes hand in hand with acknowledging and valuing their experiences. Kambu Masiya, Skulisizo namhlanje. So Mr. Maraza, you do this every day or you have specific days for the talk? Percy talk Mdluli. We do this Choco. Is it Choco or Toko? Please excuse me if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Please teach me. We do this every single Saturdays. It's supposed to be 8 p.m. in the evening. And it's called communion. And we just gather around and we share. Kasim Tolo says, I believe it's more of acknowledging that person's presence in that moment in time. Yes, you're right. And that is absolutely critical. Mind you, time is something that you spend once, you never get back. And when you acknowledge that person in that moment in time, you dedicate all of you into being present for that person in that moment. And what is a moment but just one piece of an entire life? Because our lives are made up of hundreds to thousands to hundreds of thousands to millions of moments, depending on how lucky how lucky you are in terms of how long you live and the interactions you have. And if anyone has noticed, anyone who follows the live streams, I haven't streamed since last week. The last time I streamed was Tuesday, I think. I could be wrong. I've forgotten. And I'm gonna be the first to share. I've been going through a lot. Mentally, I've been going through a lot financially, and I'm laughing there because we're all going through it. It's not like it's something new. So it almost feels weird to mention you're going through financial difficulties in 2021 and 2022 when everyone is going through it. But I've been going through a lot emotionally, I've been going through a lot financially, and And as a man, financial difficulties lead a lot to emotional difficulty. And the reason for that is because I am supposed to be a provider. I'm supposed to take care of people. Percy says it was Tuesday. Thank you so much, man. It was Tuesday, so it must have been the kitchen. And I didn't do We Want Words. I couldn't do the vlog, the podcast, the game, because there was load shedding. I couldn't do communion last week because I was not in the space for it, and I don't think I'm in the space for it yet. But I think this is actually what communion is about. And so I've been having these problems, and a lot of them stem from. Hold on. It's a combination of factors. Please excuse me. I just want to find. Oh yeah, there you go. It's a combination of factors, and it's from feeling from. Oh, is there a request? Okay. MH, whenever you want to speak, man, feel free. So, the financial difficulty aspect of things really weighs heavy on not just me, but a lot of other men. And for me, it then taps into other things that might be going wrong at the time. And it's very easy to get caught up in all of that and to start thinking, oh well, my life sucks, and this is just what and how it is. But a lot of people also say, we as men put it upon ourselves too much, and make ourselves suffer when we don't have finances. But I'm not depressed because I don't have money, right? I'm unwell because I'm unable to fulfill my purpose. And I personally, you don't have to subscribe to this. Personally, I believe in the traditional role of a man. I believe in being a provider. I believe in being a protector. Yo, I can hear you over there, bro. Do you want to add?
Yeah, it might be changing the trajectory a little bit, but
Okay. Do you want to remain anonymous, or do you want to say
let
who
me
you
just
are?
explain this is to some. Oh, okay. Hey, yazi.
Don't worry, you
umuntu,
can remain anonymous. Don't
igama
worry.
mkhulu.
Mkhulu. Okay. Mkhulu.
Mkhulu, uSimphiwe. Yeah. That's my igama engaliphiwa lelo.
Ngiyajabula ukwazi Mkhulu Simphiwe. Kunomzala wami ozala umamdala igama lakhe uSimphiwe naye. Well, again umzala umfowethu ngesizulu, but in Western culture they're my cousin. But ngoba uzala umamdala wami,
Sure.
they're my brother. Khuluma Sim.
Got it. No, yeah. So, Mfethu, let me just explain what triggered me joining the space.
Because I really want to know how you are. So please do.
Yeah, 100. And lo mbuzo loyo, people don't ask it genuinely. I don't want to repeat anything that you have said,
Feel free.
people don't genuinely ask to find out. You know what I mean? Uguti, how are you doing?
Yeah.
Let me share a little experience. I think we've all, well, not all of us, but a lot of us have been triggered by the events of the past couple of days.
Yes.
And for different reasons,
Yes.
For me specifically, it's I know the place all too well. I know that place very well. So when you see someone, when you see a soldier down, it triggers those. It brings back those emotions. It brings back that reality.
That is
You understand what I
true.
mean?
Yeah.
So namhlanje saying it, Simon, let me do something a little bit different. Let me go ngiye kumalume. So it's an uncle of mine that I haven't seen in a long time. So ngithi let me just go sit down and just have a conversation with him. You know what I mean? And probably for the first time in my life, sit down with him. Ngithi kuye ndoda, I don't know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like I'm losing it. On the outside, it seems like I have my shit together. Excuse my French. On the outside, it looks like I know what I'm doing. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To a stranger, it looks like, this guy's got his life together. But deep down inside, they don't know the struggles that I'm struggling with. You know what I mean? And one thing I've learned about the difference between us men and women is that women are able to more easier, acknowledge their weaknesses, acknowledge their fears and insecurities and so on. It's not easy for you as umuntu wesilisa to acknowledge ukuthi I don't have that much confidence in myself.
Yeah,
you understand what I'm saying? It's not an easy thing to come out and acknowledge. You know what I mean? And people think ukuthi if you've got a car, you've got this, you've got that, then you should have, a sense of self-worth. You understand? So it's things like that. I sat down with Umalo, man. I was telling him, to someone else, I might seem like I got it figured out, but I've got doubts. You know what I mean? I've got doubts about myself. I've got doubts about my abilities. I've got doubts about whether I'm a good father to my. I've got I've got 3 boys. You know what I mean? Like I was telling him, I don't know if. No, thanks, brother. And I was like, I don't know if these young men look at me and see a father figure. You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if they look at me and they see somebody that they look up to, that they want to be like, and they want to emulate and be like one day. You know what I mean? My kids have been exposed to a lot of my, difficult times that I've gone through. You understand? So, because bang bone at my weakness, I feel like they don't see me as that superhero. You get what I'm saying? Like, they always say you must never meet your heroes because once you meet them, it will change everything about them. You know what I mean? So I was like the superhero to my boys, and then they saw me at my weakest. You get what I mean? And since that moment, it felt like I don't know if these boys see me the same way that they did before, or the way that they should see me. You know what I mean? And it's a lot of things. You mentioned the issue of finances, and it's not that, it's I mean, most of us, you know what I mean? Like, money was never
we know poverty.
You know what I mean? Like, money was never an issue. So I think it's not even about money. It's about your own sense of self-worth as umuntu wesilisa. You know what I mean? And your ability to be able to ukungena endlini and know that everything has been taken care of. You know what I mean? So it's not really about money, but it's about how you feel
money.
as
but it's not really
wesilisa.
about money.
You understand what I'm saying?
It's
you know what I'm saying? It's about what money can do.
Exactly.
But
not the money itself.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not actual money. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, I mean, these are some of the things. And I mean, I talk to Amajita, every once in a while, and you'll realize, this is what most of us as guys are going through. You know what I mean? And me mentioning this in the context of guys is not to exclude women.
Absolutely not.
But the reason why I'm emphasizing it from the context of guys is that women more easily, come out and say, listen, I don't think, like, how women are, like, I think I'm too fat. I think I'm too this. Like, I don't have, you understand what I mean? Like,
they have
we
their
don't
own
do
problems.
that as guys.
They
you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not easy
problems.
to come out and say,
I think, for me, I always say, uma ngabe ukuthi siyakhuluma as abantu besilisa and we say the problem as guys, don't feel like don't. We live in a world now where we have to justify that too much, and I really hate
100.
it. I really hate it when I see a woman speak for men, because she doesn't completely know what it's like to be a man, and I myself don't dare speak for women because I don't know what it's like to be a woman. Now, when you say it's much easier for women to say, yo, I'm too fat. And usually, with us, like with our black sisters, most of the time when they say they're too fat, they look just great to us, But you're right in saying women find it easier to come out and say, hey, I'm fat, I'm this. But we don't know how deeply it affects them on the inside, So we don't necessarily know what they're going through, but we know what they express.
Yeah. So the crux of the conversation today with my uncle, he actually took me back. You know what I mean?
Yes,
he took me back to. I was raised by a single parent, like most of us. Yeah, it's all.
Yep.
I was raised by my mother, and even though my mother did everything and make sure that we were good,
Shout out
there
to
was
strong
always
black
something
women.
missing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, she did everything. She provided. Food, clothing, shelter, everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But kukhona logo that was always missing. And as a child growing up, you don't know what it is. But you know ukuthi khona ushodayo.
Yep.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that brings me to the value that umuntu wesilisa has in the upbringing of a child, whether it's a boy or a girl. We always think it's a boy, but even girls need their fathers.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Time.
Even girls need that father figure. And Tina Skule, without a father figure, you know what I mean? Without somebody that gives you that strength as a boy transitioning into becoming a man. You know what I mean? We just had to be men by figuring it out. So you literally would stand aside and copy what the next person is doing. So mobona lonenza kanje. So that's how that's what being a man is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why we've got these with these. It's like we're all confused. We don't know what being a man is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that brings upon us this pressure now. Now we have to do this, we have to do that, which is a false pressure. It's not even a real pressure. It shouldn't even be. It shouldn't even exist. You know what I mean? And so this is a conversation I'm having with my uncle, and he's just going in, and he's just saying, "Look, Ntwana, inkinga yakho ukuthi wena, you never had a father figure in the house, right? And you never had somebody that instilled that sense of self-worth.
Yeah.
You understand? As a man."
Yeah.
Which only your father could do. Your mother could never do that. As much as she was a great woman, as much as she was a powerful black woman, she could never do that. She just didn't have it in her to give you that sense of nesiZulu kunalento kuthiwa isithunzi.
Yes.
You understand
and it's unfair to expect her to be able to do it.
100.
Exactly,
You can't.
You can't
and even
expect
if
her,
she wanted to, she can't do it. You know what I mean? So now we walk around as men who drive cars, we have houses, we do all these things, but we don't have ubudoda, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I
You understand? Because nobody sat us down and said, this is what manhood is about. This is how you become a man. This is, you know what I mean? These are the things that you should do. These are the things that you should tolerate. These are the things that you should not tolerate. You understand what I mean? Because being as a Luto, I found myself in relationships where I was overcompensating. You understand what I'm saying? I'm becoming, because I'm trying to be a good man to this woman, nyamosha. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to do the right thing, but I end up messing things up because I'm overdoing things. I'm over loving. I'm over understanding. I'm over all of these things. You understand? Nobody sat me down and said, as in, at some point as a man, you need to put your foot down. You understand? And make this and that and that and that and that and that and that known. You understand? Not because, and none of this, GBV, whatever stuff that people talk about, but it's just about.
No, that's not putting your foot down. That's putting your foot on someone else. That's not putting your foot down. That's putting your foot on someone else, and that has nothing to do with manhood.
100%. So this is me. I'm young. I'm married, and I'm doing all of these things, and I'm just going out of my way to. Yeah, it kind of ended.
Well, congratulations
It
still.
kind of ended.
Congratulations still. You did it.
For when it happened. No.
For when it happened. You did it. There's a lot of us who are too afraid to take that leap because I hope I don't throw you off what you were saying, but there's some things that I have a very short attention span and I want to first mention to you, Guti, first of all, I relate to your story in terms of saying, you know, you've got these 3 wonderful boys. I've got 2 girls and a boy. And I remember on my wedding day, I couldn't stop crying. And the reason I couldn't stop crying was not because I was obviously very happy that I was getting married. I was getting married to the love of my life. But I was crying because I didn't know if I was doing it right. And the reason I didn't know if I was doing it right is because everybody was there except the man who married my mother. And I wanted to know, like I really wanted to know like how he felt about how I did it, you know. And my children don't have a grandfather. They call my grandfather their grandfather, but that's their great grandfather. And I wanted to hear from their grandfather whether I am fathering them right or not. You know, I sometimes go through phases where I'm trying to make sure that my children understand that the world is not your friend. The world is a harsh place, and the world will never be the environment that I'm building for you in this home. So I smother them with love, and I try and give them everything that they desire and everything that they can. And then at the same time, I look back at what made me the man I am today, what gave me the ability to provide. And part of it is, again, your story is so incredibly strong, and I relate to it so much. It's because I had nothing. There were so many missing pieces. And then suddenly, I start thinking to myself, wait, am I overdoing it? This comes to your overcompensating part. Am I giving them so much love that they will not be able to handle the world? Because the world will never care for them the way that I care for them. And striking that balance is so difficult when you didn't see anyone else strike it in front of you. All we had was tragedy and adversity. And we fought tooth and nail to rise above it so we could become providers and become better fathers. But then we look back and we think, what example am I giving to my children? Because I am the thing that they look up to, because I had nothing to look up to back then. And now they have something to look up to. What is that going to make them? And that conundrum, I'm not going to say drove me crazy. That thing drives me crazy to this day. I was arguing with my son in the morning about, I started teaching him how to wake up very early because he's turning 13 this year. As a job, so a teenager, man, you're going to your teen years, and I want you to start learning how to wake up very early, so that by the time you get into the work environment, if you whether you choose to work for someone or not, an early morning is going to be essential. And I want it to be something that is innate in you. No one taught me that. I had to teach myself that after reading it in a book that Kay Zaga from Wayward Visuals had suggested. And now my son wakes up very early, and he wakes up and he watches cartoons from like 5 a.m. All the way to whatever, 10 a.m. By that time, I'm already in the studio from 5 a.m. after showering. So today, I'm like, what's the point of waking up early if you're going to take all of that time and waste it watching cartoons? And I had a bit of a stern talk with him, like you said, putting my foot down and drawing the line. And I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty harsh with him. I didn't say any damaging words or anything, but I was very firm in letting him know that this is unacceptable behavior. Then I go back to my studio and I sit with myself and I think, wait, did I go too far? Did I Did I say too much? Did I do too much? Should I have said this earlier? Okay, I did say this earlier. Look, kumele ngimshaye because ngangishawa mina. Was I supposed to hit him physically? Was I supposed to say something harsher with my words? And so it's just this endless conundrum of not knowing how much good is good enough, and how to balance it.
You see all those... Sure, bafo.
Niyaphila nsizwe.
Siyaphila Kambu, unjani wena?
Hayi ngiyaphila ingane zakwethu. Ya ngicela ukuningena nje emadevuni izingane zakwethu.
Sikulalele bese.
Okokuqala ngizoqala nginibongele ekuthenini senike naba okubafuseke waba ethubeni lokuthi abe nomfazi nomndeni. Ngilalele noma ukuhamba ngesingisi ngiyazama ngiyacosha kwixhathi elikhulu kakhulu lelo. Ngibongela uMarazi ukuthi ngimaze kahle eseke vele kesigabeni sokuthi uyindoda yena unomuzi, unomfazi, unengane. Futhi unomndeni wakho phelele. Ngibuyele lapha kulelapha phuzu labafo leli lokuthi akanayo ishow noma izingane zakhe zizambuka njenge-heroine, njengeqhawelazo yini if sezimbone ekesimweni sokuba buthakathaka kwezinye izinsuku zibe zikade zihlezi zimbona njengeqhawe kwesinye isikhathi. Ngicabanga ukuthi izingane ngaso sonke isikhathi zijabuliswa iliyo nto hlezi kuyiyona kuzona, zithakasela yona ukuthi ubaba ukhona for thina. Ngicabanga ukuthi akumele mhlawumbe uzucabange kakhulu, yabona, ngezinto ezingakuthunaza amandla mhlawumbe ngento ozenzayo noma ozicabangayo noma uzifisela zona izingane. Izingane zihlezi zibona kuyinto eyodwa kuzona, since zona zisakhula uziphethe ngendlela eyodwa futhi nawe kuzona, yabo. Futhi ngiphinde ngithi njengoba abafana nje zizokhula kusasa ziba amadoda njengawe, yabona le nto leyo. Yazi amadoda njengawe ku-right ukuthi zikubone ukule side le njabule, ziphinde zikubone ukule side lokuba futhi inteke imbijana, ngoba ziyazi ukuthi ubaba mezimletha kade enza kanje, yabo. Ubaba bekumnandi benza kanje, besiba kanje. Ngicabanga ukuthi umuntu ekumele zifunde kuyena kakhulu wena, yabo. Njengoba wena ukhala ngokuthi awulitholanga ithuba lokuthi ufunde emntwini efaka ngabe ufunda kuyena, zona zinenhlanhla kuba ziyambona ubaba ukuthi okay ubaba kwenzeka kanje 1 2 3 udila kanje ney'nkinga abhekene nazo, udila kanje futhi nenjabulo yethu, usenza sibe happy kanje. So nabo for sure kusasa bazokwenza the very same thing emndenini wabo, nabo bazoba ney'nkinga kodwa bazokhumbula ukuthi baba menenkinga benza kanje, umalume or umfowethu or ubhuti kade enza kanje mina inkinga. So ngicabanga ukuthi ku-right, yabo, angikugxeki ndawo mina lokho. Ngithi nje into engayisho kungakuthunazi isithunzi sakho ey'ngadini zakho bafo, yabo. Kuyinto e-right kakhulu for wena lokho ukuthi kwenzeke, because umuntu akahlezi mfethu esayidini right ngaso sonke isikhathi. Ngicabanga ukuthi impilo injalo, impilo ishaya phambili ishaya emuva, but as long as thina sizoba nezixazululo ey'ntweni esibhekene nazo, yabona leyo nto leyo, ngicabanga konke kusuke ku-right.
Ngamanye amazwi Kambu uthi iy'ngane zikaSimphiwe kusasa zizothi ubaba wayeyisiphiwo kuthina, ngokuthi ubaba akasikhombisanga itshe kuphela, wasikhombisa itshe nesiqamelo, wasikhombisa ukuqina nokuthamba, wasikhombisa ukubalula nobunzima, wasikhombisa okwehlelayo nokunyukelayo, wasikhombisa amanzi nomlilo. Siney'khali zokuthi sibhekane nempilo.
Yebo mfethu, ingane zaSimphiwe azikho esayidini elilodwa njengamanje, and zizokhula zingekho esayidini elilodwa ngoba zizokwazi zibuye zizobuza kuyena ukuthi baba wawenza njani bekuthi kanje mekhona lezi zeqeke khona. Ngibhekene nenkinga yokuthi njengoba wena ine-while uthe uyaqala ukuthi uyoxoxa nomalume wakho ubuye uyokwenza kuyena lokho, zona zizokwenza every day kuwena if izinenkinga, ngoba kade zikubonga ukuthi lokho ngikushusho yini. Nami nginey'ngane eziwu-3, amantombazane o2, umfana oyedwa. Nami ngikhule ngingenawo baba futhi, yabona leyo nto leyo. Unfortunately, fortunately angobi nomfazi, ngizoba naye kodwa ngicathi ngizobe sengidode ngokwanele ukuthi ngibe naye, ngoba nangu uMarazi umfowethu unomfazi kweduze kwami. Nabanye obaba bakhona engikhula nabo, abanye engikhula nabo esitejini sempilo, khona abanye ubaba abadala engifunda kubona, engibukela kubona nasekhaya. Ubaba omalume bami bawo ubaba bayimanumzane banemizi yabo, so kuningi engikufundayo, yabona leyo nto leyo. Ngiyakuncoma ngephuzu leli lokuthi uye kumalume wayoxoxa naye. Ngicathi kuningi osozokufunda manje. Ngicabanga futhi amandla azobuya, uzophinda ube nomfazi futhi again, ngoba ukhombisa ukuba indoda lokho akusho ukuthi sohlulekile ingqamu kuthiwa ukuhlehla kwayo akusho ukuthi suke sehlisa ukuyoqoqa amandla yabona lento leyo.
Hey ngiyabonga. Yeah, ngiyabonga amazwi wakho mfo ayakha and they actually mean a lot. You don't understand ukuthi you see inkinga ukuthi we don't have lama conversation anje. Ithole nto so every day uwedwa. So lento ecabangayo mhlawumbe ucabanga into engekho. But ngoba akekho umuntu uzothi hayi bafu ungacabangi kanjalo lokho akukho kanje kukanje yabona. You end up you know you angisho ukuthi ngiyazi ukuthi into ehlekele umfowethu la phakathi neviki, what was he going through or what state of mind was he in. I'm not going to pretend that I know, but ngiyazi from my own experience ukuthi uyithola in a place where you are alone wedwa nemicabango yakho yabona, and you end up thinking, because I've been in a situation like that before. Njengoba ngisho ngithi ingane zami zangibona in a position that angizange ngiyithande i-position ezangibona ngikuyo. You understand? I just couldn't take it anymore and ngathola indawo, I overdosed and all of those things, and unfortunately ke ingane zami were exposed to that and they saw that. Sure, no, it's impilo mfowethu. And angaze mina ngibe nabantu engathi kubo bafowethu kukanje nakanje yabona. Unfortunately I'm the only boy ekhaya, yimi kuphela umfana, amantombazana awu3 yabona. And nasekhaya ubaba yimina ubaba wabo yabona, but at the same time yimina ongathi I'm like the black sheep ngoba nobaba ongizalayo ufavor amantombazana kunami yabona. So I've always been nje umuntu ohlala thanda ukuba yedwa yabona, noma thola ukuthi sometimes we even like eindaweni ezibusy and things like that, but I will always find a spot lapho ngizoba ngedwa khona, you understand. But the problem is that when you do that, you start going down this spiral, and it ingaqala kancane into but igcine sekuyinto enkulu. Yayithola into ngisho you start and it's almost like voices come to your head, you know. You start thinking ukuthi but you know angibona ngihluleka kwenza lokho vele impilo yami vele mina yabona, all of those things. So njengoba ngishaya ngenduku zethu. Exactly. So njengoba ngisho ngithi amazwi kaGambu ayangakha kakhulu, because for a second I'm pausing and I'm thinking to myself, but he actually has a point. And so it's a different perspective to the one that I've been giving myself sonke lesikhathi. Ithola lento engishoyo. So zonke lenkathi ngihlezi ngingedwa ngicabanga zonke lezi zinto lezi. Now all of a sudden I'm getting a different perspective that says no, lento icabanga ayikho. And once it starts making sense, then you start thinking to yourself, ukuthi man, why was I not thinking this all along? Why was I thinking ukuthi kukanje ekubeni akukho kanjalo? You understand what I mean? So that's why ngisho ngithi sometimes amagama wakho mhlawumbe wena into eyishoyo nje just because, but you don't realize ukuthi into eyishoyo imakha kangakanani, or to what extent omunye umuntu yabona. So ngiyakubonga ngaloko bafowethu, ngiyabonga ukuthi niwakhiphe lawo magama lawo.
But ukuthi ngicabanga ukuthi mfowethu kuningi okusazoshintsha if sizokwazi sithi singazani sibhonde kanje ngento zabelungu sixoxe sakhana, ngoba mhlawumbe kubusho ukuthi akekho umuntu ozwana naye umunye okwazi ukufinyelela kulama conversation, and akekho umuntu okwazi ukuvulelela kuyena ukhulume naye, mhlawumbe nakubangani bakho noma abantu ophuza nabo noma abantu obuka nabo ibhola. Akekho umuntu ocabangisa okwakho mhlawumbe okuyimindset efana neyakho, noma useke waba ezigabeni noma kuma challenges empilo njengewakho yabo. So ngicabanga lokhu kuhlukile lokho okwenziwa uMaraza kusena mfethu. Uyasixhumanisa, asazani in person kodwa sesiyazana ngokwenkulumo nangokubudoda nangey'fiso esifuna ukuya kuzona nento esesibhekane nazo. So ngizobuyela la kule phezulu mfethu phela kabuhlungu kakhulu nami ngoba I'm an upcoming musician so into ezenzakalayo ziyangithinta umfethu lo okwenziwe kuyena isimo nemisiso lesifika nje mfethu
umuzwendlo
kabuhlungu kakhulu mina mengibuka njenge-plug enkulu kuthina as ama-upcoming uyabona
yeah
bekuyinto enkulu kakhulu mfethu bengibona ukuthi nami ngelanga ngiyohlangana naye ngiyomsheka ngiyomxhawula mfethu yabo ngoba mina already nawo umngane wami ongithandayo mina yabo so ngiyazi ukuthi it wasn't gonna be a case of ukuthi mhlawumbe uyangiflaga or something else I do have mina esesiphusha naye kanjalo yabo but ukuthi kwabanye abafowethu ngoba into ayenze komunye umuntu ufana nokuthi uyenze mina ngoba nami ngisesimweni esisodwa so ngiyafunda nami ukuthi no fangiyenze futhi nami oza ngemva kwami yabo so ngibhlungu ngilimele into eyenze esithina as abantu besilisa wena ngana kwethu sishoda thina ngokuthandwa thina sinothando yabo lonto leyo yabanika thina abantu uthando kodwa thina asirisizi lutho elibheke ngathina yabo so sigcina sesilimala nencane sikuthatha abafazi ngizolinganisa mhlawumbe njengawe noMarazi thatha umfazi yabo umfazi uzokuthatha ukuthi uzomthatha ukuthi right somnotho noma sempilo ubhalanse kahle kuhamba kwesikhathi mhlawumbe izinto ziye zishake zehle nawe self-esteem yakho yehle yabo yonke into so isimo sokubhekene naso sidinga yena ukuthi enze njani akuphakamise akusupporte ukuthi ngayo yonke indlela and also osibethu yabo noma bethu noma babethu yabo but ngizobheka kakhulu esifazane naye ukuthi ngoba ngilwa naso kodwa into engizibona zenzeka imali away yabo kodwa nami ngibona ukuthi singamshaya izinto ngoba nami ngimuntu wesilisa yabo
yeah
so abasithando efanele kabe siyalithola yabo osibethu ngoba yini if izinto zehla mususemshadweni othi zibasayida namadoda umakoti methi wangithathela ukuzongihlukumeza noma ukuzongilambisa ekhaya kade ngisutha mina ekhaya naye usisi uzohleka akhulume leyo nto ngoba sekusisi wakho omunye lo uyakhohlwa ukuthi igazi lakhe yena uyakhohlwa ukuthi kumele athi no yazi ukuthi ubhuti udinga lokhu nalokhu umakoti wakho uyakhohlwa ukuthi wamthatha wamenza umuntu wesifazane ekade eyintombazane
ngizocela
ngicabanga
ukuthayisela lokho
lezi zinto zigcina zisizipondo kanjalo bese
uyangizwa kampa ungakayi kudakhulu ngicela ukuthayisela lokhu kunoma yimuphi umuntu wesimame olalele ngicela nilalele lento eshiwo uGambo noma lento eshiwo uSimphiwe ungayilaleli izinto ekhuluma ngawe ngoba uwumuntu wesimame nawe lalela umuntu okhuluma ngento abhekana nayo ephathelene nabanye abantu mina ngikusaba ukukhuluma ngeenkinga engibhekana nazo ngiyindoda ngoba ngiyazazi angiyona le nkinga amanye amadoda ake abe yiyo kosisi bethu kwesinye isikhathi lezi nkinga ezifola under izinto ezifana no GBV angaze nangelilodwa ilanga ingxabano yami nomuntu wesimame ngiyixazulule ngesandla angaze nangelilodwa ilanga ingxabano yami nomuntu wesimame ngiyixazulule ngokumshaya mhlambe ngamazwi azohlala beyond leyo nkulumo leyo so uma ngabe ngikhuluma nami as umuntu wesilisa angicabanga igebengu angikhulumela igebengu lezo so njengoba ekhuluma uGambe esho lokho kusho musu ukucabanga ungacabanga igebengu abantu abashaya abantu wesimame igebengu abantu abadlengulayo igebengu ukhuluma yena ngamadoda abanakekeli abavikeli abantu abafayo bebulawa yizo lezo igebengu bevikela abantu besimame
yebo mfethu yabo so ngicabanga ukuthi umuntu wenza lokho mfethu usuke indoda eqotho mfethu umuntu okwazi ukuthatha intombazane yabo ayenze umuntu wesifazane ayenze unkosikazi ngoba kahle kahle nami as umuntu wesilisa ngingasebenza ngibe nama-million mengakhe u-25 room indlu kusuke kuyindlu
leyo ayibi yikhaya ngeke ibe yikhaya
indlu leyo indlu
enkulu impela indlu enhle kodwa yindlu
yebo yabo indlu enkulu yakhe indlu enkulu yaMaraza indlu enkulu yaSimphiwe yabo leyo nto leyo so udinga umuntu wesifazane oqotho ozofika yena azoletha imfudumalo laphaya
Yeah.
ekhaya akhe ikhaya yena. Yabona lento, so umuntu wesifazane ubalulekile ufuna simphathe kahle, yabo. So ngiyabona ukuthi most of iy'nsizwa noma olova noma amajitha ayakwenza lokho, amanye futhi ayahluleka ukwenza lokho. So lawa ahlulekayo ngathini futhi umuntu usuke ngakubo esigabeni noma esimeni esifanele mhlawumbe usuke edinisa abanye abantu noma usuke engazi indoda yini, usithulela phansi isithunzi sethu nalowo. Yabo lento leyo. Bese
Noma kwesinye isikhathi usuke ethole intombazane ibingakalungeli ukuthi ithathe indlu iyenze ikhaya, ngoba angifuni ukugxila kakhulu ekuthenini izinto ey'phathelene abantu abesimame versus abantu abesilisa. This is not what it's about. Ngifuna nosisi befone nabekhulume ngezinto lezi ezibaphethe. Usingazi nje ngisafuna ukukhuluma naye, but kulezi insuku mfethu, kulezi insuku uku-YouTube ngizomfonela. Kulezi insuku this is nani bosisi niyazi, odadewethu abaningi bayawufuna umshado kodwa bakufuna ukuba umfazi.
Yes.
There's a lot of modern young women who want a wedding but don't necessarily want a marriage. And yabo lento ukuthi lento esikhuluma ngayo ukuthi kuba indoda ube indoda eqotho, esilungwini esikhulu bayibiza ngokuthi toxic. And so it becomes very difficult to understand ukuthi uzokwenze njani kanti uma ngabe uthi zingane aniphumi ngo-7 endlini kusebusuku thiwa uyahlukumeza, kanti usho ngoba uyazi ukuthi kunani ebumnyameni ngaphandle.
Yebo, ngisho ngoba ngiyazi ukuthi uzophuma ushiya mina ngiyinhloko yekhaya, uyangishiya ngumuntu ofaka kuvikela, uma ungishiya la ngaphakathi
ukuvikela kanjani usuwedwa le ngaphandle konke?
Ngeke ngikwazi ukukuvikela, so ngizoba ilobaba ongenathando ekugcineni, onganakekeli futhi if sekuvela ingozi ngaphandle, angithi ngizobuya iy'nduku zizoshaya, ngade ngiwubhula lowo mlilo kuthiwa ngi-toxic kusho ngesinto.
Mase kwenzeka okuthile okwenzekile, uhlulekile wena ukuvikela ingane yakho.
Mubi, sengumubi.
Akuseshiwo ukuthi yadlulundela.
Yeah mfethu, ngicabanga ukuthi thina esisazoba amadoda noma abafowethu abakesigabeni sethu asebemadoda kumele sixhumane kakhulu, because nathi kufa sifunde ama-challenges eniwatholayo nina as amadoda amanje. Nathi kufa sifunde nani futhi ngiyacala kufanele nibuye nisichaze ukuthi bafethu uma ufika la kwenzeka ukuthi nokuthi ngicabanga le nkulumo manje kanje ibalulekile kumina, ngiyayithanda abafana bakithi. Fayiqhubeke kakhulu. Into esibhekene nazo sikwazi ukuthi sizibe siziqobe ngayedwana, kepha njengoba kwade cha akanawo umuntu akaxoxe naye, ngicathi nawe uyalapheka namhlanje if ukwazi ukuthi athole abafowabo through izinto zomoya kanjena, ukwazi ukuthi umoya wakho ululeke naye aphefumule. Yabona loo nto leyo, kanti umbuzo wakho umehluko
ibaluleke kakhulu yona bafo, because ngiyazi ukuthi akusiyimina kuphela. I am not the only one.
No.
Ofila ohamba kule ndlela. Bakhona abanye abafethu abasekho ngenxa yokuthi kwakungekho abantu abazokhuluma nabo abazobatshela ukuthi right, you know, you are enough, you are sufficient. Akho la kushoda khona. Yebo kuyenzeka ngesinye isikhathi ukuthi njengendoda uyithola ungenamandla, kodwa impilo, there's nothing wrong with that. It does not make you less of a man ukuthi manje namhlanje njengoba isimo sinje awusakhona ukuthi uze ungene endlini nesinkwa. Yebo. As long as you are making the effort, awulalanga njengendoda uyavuka ekuseni uhambe noma ungabuya ungaphethanga lutho, kodwa
uzamile
wanele. Yabona kwanele lokho kwenzayo. Baningi abafowethu abangasekho namhlanje, abanye mhlambe babasemajele ngenxa yokuthi bekangekho umuntu obatshelayo ukuthi you are enough. Yabona, you are sufficient, you awusilento leyo ucabanga ukuthi uyiyo. Yabona lento engisho, which is something mina that has been lacking kakhulu empilweni yami. I have always had these feelings of inadequacy. Yetho lento engisho noma yayibona lento engishoyo noma ngene endlini no plastic mhlamba abawu3 uthi hayi yazini bekuyoba ngcono kube bawu5 yayibona lento engishoyo so kuhlezi kunjalo njengoba ngisho ngithi angazi ukuthi umfowethu yena kahle kahle inkinga yayikuphi kodwa I understand from his perspective ukuthi umhlaba ungakubona engathi wena right kodwa wena ungayiboni leyo nto leyo yabona wena uyithole
ake ngikhuluma phe kwalokho. So for anyone who's listening who doesn't understand the Zulu language, what Simphiwe just said is you know, as a man and as a provider, you come home and you've got like 3 bags of groceries, you still think, damn, you know, this should have been 5. And there's men coming home with no bags of groceries and they tried their best that day and it didn't happen. It didn't work out that way, but they still tried. And there's men coming home with 10 bags of groceries and they feel like it should have been 20. And there's men coming home with 20 bags of groceries, but the home that they're coming to is broken by themselves. So the man coming home with 0 groceries, but comes home to a warm home that is full of love, that is well protected, in my view, is a better man than the man who comes home with the world, but leaves the home broken and desolate. So now look at this guy. Let's bring it back to umfowethu lo osilahlekele. And lento sikhuluma ngayo for me it becomes a lot more powerful mangabe siyibeka ngolika mageba, but ngifuna accommodate wonke umuntu olalele because baningi all across the world. Singazu, please send me your number. I'd love to call you and hear from. That's if you're a woman. I see a woman's photo in your profile picture. If you, well, even if you're not a woman, I'd like to call you and hear what you think. But especially if you're a lady, what we need to look at from what Simphiwe just said. Simphiwe said, you know, sometimes he feels inadequate, and you know, you go home with 3 grocery bags and you feel like that's not enough. Umuzwendlovu, rest in peace. Umuzwendlovu, those who know him, and I think I knew him a little bit better than the average fan, but
rest in peace.
What the hell?
I think I knew him a little
someone
bit
is
better
watching
than the average
my
fan,
stream. Please
but
mute your mic.
rest in peace. What the hell? I think I
Right. Yeah, I think beku Simphiwe ngizom unmute when he catches on. So Simphiwe, if you play the stream out loud, it's going to feedback. So when you play the stream elsewhere, please mute your mic. I'm going to
got it.
Okay, great. Thank you. Don't worry about it. So those who know him know that he grew up around money. He has not struggled for money. I do think that he has had times in his life where he struggled for money, but generally he wasn't someone who, like, poverty was a central part of the struggles of him either growing up or even him as an adult. You know, it's well documented that he had issues of some substance abuse a very long time ago in his younger years, and he blossomed into an amazing man who was just the picture perfect version of what a guy should aspire to be. And I'm gonna say this now. I feel very bad that I've spoken openly about my own issues with mental health and my own issues with my own mental health, and I think I discovered the hard way that if we as men are very open about that, if we as men are very open about our issues with our mental health, it can oftentimes get used against us. I have many stories that I can quote that I've experienced personally, that I've seen and personally, and that I've seen online. But I always say, you know, just because someone looks like they have it all together. Simphiwe, you mentioned something very important. I'm looking at your profile picture right now, and in your profile picture, you're in your car, and the car has a sunroof. And I am shocked at how similar we are, in the sense that I have a car that is a sunroof, and I also have 3 children. And Gambo, who was here, also has 3 children. And we're all talking about the same struggle. And to everyone else on the outside, they look at me and what I have, and they think, this guy's got it all together. I'm the main breadwinner for not just my own immediate family, but also like 2 or 3 different branches of my extended family, from my mother's side and my father's side. And I spend maybe 70% of the year in this room that I'm in right now. The room that I'm in right now is a prison of my own making. And I try to make it as accommodating to me as possible, because I really struggle to face the outside world. But whenever I'm outside in the outside world, the world doesn't see that I am actually a lot more afraid of it. I feel a lot safer in my own home, and I can't. It is so difficult for me to visit friends. I get so very anxious. It is so incredibly difficult for me to be visited by friends. I even get anxiety leading up to me doing this. And this used to be a great escape for me. But I said this was going to start at 8. Instead, it started at 9, because I had to prepare myself mentally. So I, for one, am one person who knows that just because someone looks a certain way, you cannot then decide that they have it all together and they're absolutely fine and nothing is wrong. Yet I, of all people, was in such denial when I heard about Umuzwendlovu. I was in such denial when I heard about what happened this week. And I feel, to some degree, that the problem that I'm trying to fight against, because of how deeply entrenched it is in all of us, I am, to a degree, somewhat still a part of it. Because I never, even to this day, I've read the family statement. I still ask myself, but why? And the thing is this: when it comes to mental health, when it comes to how you feel, and by the way, ladies, when we say us as men, we're not discounting anything you're going through. We can't speak on what you're going through because we haven't gone through the same things. It is so important for us to understand that we all have problems. And we may be a problem for each other at times. But generally, we all have problems, and we will not all understand what the other person is going through. So, whether you're married or you're not married, whether you want marriage or you don't want marriage, that does not determine who you are. That is not a defining characteristic of your being. And don't ever think that it is. And I feel very, very horrible that I also did not ever think that Umuzwendlovu was going through that and experiencing that. Why? Because I looked at him from the outside, I judged him, and I judged the love that he was trying to portray and spread out into the universe, and I forgot to consider how much of it he was getting back. I was with someone yesterday, I'm not going to name them, but they're a very close friend of his, and I know they loved him, and I know that he knew that they loved him. But what he was going through is so complex that love on its own was not enough. The person I was with yesterday tried. The person that I was with yesterday tried for a long time. And there's many people in the industry who can attest to that. There's many people who knew that he was going through something. And it's not that they didn't try, they did try. I'm just one of those who was not that close to his circle and not that close to him now, especially not in this moment. And I say this to say, Simpiwe, I look at your profile picture, shades on, looking ahead, sunroof, looking clean. And it's very easy to look at that and think, this guy has no reason to complain. And for even thinking that from seeing your profile picture, I'm sorry, dog. To Muzwendlov. Oh, Muzwendlov Makado. For thinking that there's no way a guy like you would feel whatever you felt that led to you taking the decision that you did. I'm sorry. Because if I didn't have that disposition, if I didn't have that prejudgment, I probably could have been one of the ears that your cries fell upon. And you know, I don't think I'm capable of having done something. I don't think I had any power to change anything in this situation, but it doesn't hurt to have someone listen to you.
Yeah, just adding on to what you're saying about looks and how things look from a distance.
Yeah.
The irony of that profile picture is there's actually a very painful story behind it. Even though it looks like I'm probably going to some shisanyama or whatever.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It really
like
does.
Saturday afternoon. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But so the actual car that I was in is obviously not. It doesn't exist anymore. But that's actually the car that killed my mother and my son and my best friend. So we were driving from AKZN, just a short little holiday. And on our way back, we got into a car accident. And I actually lost my mother and my son and my best friend in that accident. And I was the only one that actually survived. So the irony of you looking at that picture and thinking that all is well. Meanwhile, what that picture actually to me represents, it represents, a certain, event that actually happened a couple of years ago. You understand what I'm saying? And not only does it represent that event, but it also represents that trauma that came with that whole entire experience. So it's quite interesting that you would use that as an example, but it's like the most perfect example that you could have come up with, because when you see what you see in from a distance, but it's almost like a mirage. It's like it looks like something but behind it, it's actually a very painful and a very traumatic, there's a very painful and traumatic story to it. Do you get what I'm saying? And this is you are 100% spot on, because Tina, from the outside looking in, we saw Ricky Rick, the star, the everything, the ultimate guy, but we don't know what was happening behind the scenes. You understand, Linda? And this is the problem with the world today, is that our focus is always on what's on the outside. You understand? And because that's how it is. We also we get into the groove of things, and we just focus on the outside. As long as I look good on the outside, I wouldn't have. You know what I mean? While inside of you are dying. I was saying to a friend of mine the other day, we'd see, depression is like a poison, right? It's a poison that eats away at you little by little by little by little.
Yeah.
And even when we born, you don't realize that it's literally eating away at you until you get to a point where there's very little left, or if anything. And that's why it becomes easy for a person to just, I don't want to get too graphic about what happens, but it becomes easy for a person to take their own life. You understand it? Because by the time they get to that point, aksekho lutho. You understand what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing there left. There's literally nothing left. And that's why, to the average person, you think to yourself, but how can a person do that? Why did they do that? But you will not understand until you've gotten to that edge.
And
you understand? Where
hopefully
there's
you never
poison.
do. Are you still there?
I'm here. I lost you there for a second.
No, I was saying, you were saying they'll never understand until they get to that age, but obviously we hope they never do,
You hope they never do, but how do you? So the question now becomes, how do we make sure that, as unfortunate as the event was, that was the last person that we are going to lose to this thing, because that's what the question should be. It's
man.
kubuhlungu kufamily yakhe, kubuhlungu everyone. The entire country is literally mourning, right?
Yeah.
But now the bigger question to that is, how do we make sure, Uguti, we do not have another brother take his life over something that could have been resolved? Because Ube, I don't know, I'm not God or anything like that, but I somehow suspect, Uguti, if Umfowethu was present in this conversation today,
Hey.
would that not have, you understand what I'm saying? Would that not have saved a life? Would that not have given him a hope to carry on for another couple of months? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like the idea that a person could have lived just for one more week, you understand? Just for one more day. If someone had, if someone had checked up on him that day and said, no, Mfetazin, I ngiyakuthanda mfowethu. You understand what I'm saying?
Gave
Or
him the
someone,
love that he was always giving others. If
you
someone had
understand?
just, if someone had the chance, and this is not to blame anyone, but if it was somehow possible that someone gets to him on that day and gives him the love that is always trying to give others.
Yeah. So it's for me that's the bigger question. The bigger question is, how do we make sure that this thing does not happen to another human being again? How do we make sure that kusasa akube omunye umuntu? You understand what I mean? And I know for me, I mean, I said it earlier on, which the reason I jumped onto this was like, damn, I have to get onto this. You understand? Because I've made a conscious decision, Uguti. I want to fulfill my life with people that are positive.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean? And I don't want to find myself in that space again where I'm having all kinds of thoughts and I'm thinking to myself, when I attempted a couple of years ago, I was justifying it, Moguti, at least I'm going to be with my son. You understand what I'm saying? That was my justification. That's what I kept telling myself, Uguti. Yeah, I know it's not a good thing to do, but at least I get to be with my son. At least Shona, and I will be able to, to be reunited with my son. And that's wrong. I mean, it's a wrong justification, because I don't think, Uguti, my son would have wanted me to do that just so that I can be reunited with him.
No, he really wouldn't.
You understand what I'm saying? So but these are thoughts, and I'm just giving you examples of the kind of thoughts that come to your mind. To answer your question that you asked earlier on, Uguti, why? You understand? And that is the why. The why is that there's all of these justifications that come to your mind, and you say, you know what, maybe the world is a better place without me. Or you know what, maybe I'll be able to find rest, or whatever, it is that come to your mind. But I can guarantee you that if somebody had reached out that day, you know what I mean? If somebody had reached out and said, listen, bruh, whatever you're going through, or, you don't have to know. I mean, you'll never always know what a person is going through, but it's just about Ubuntu. You understand? It costs nothing to call somebody and tell them that you love them and appreciate them. Drop the phone. You understand what I'm saying? It costs nothing to do that, but it makes a big difference. It makes a big impact. Ukambu was on earlier on, and he said something that made me think. You understand what I'm saying? That had such an impact on me. Now I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute. I've been thinking that I'm not a father that is worthy of my kids, and my kids don't think this and that of me. But somebody has just come through to me and made me realize, all these thoughts that I've been having all along, they were not the right thoughts. You know what I'm saying? Like, Ukambu, I don't know if he's still on or not, but he also you understand? From today onwards, he's going to carry on with his life, probably forget this conversation in a couple of years' time. But that impact is going to stay with me for the rest of my life. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I really hope
so.
It does,
In the same light, someone could have come through and said something. I can guarantee you, ukhona umuntu who would have said something that would have kept him alive that much longer.
If at least,
you understand what I'm saying?
If at least for one more day.
And it costs nothing. Like I'll be easy. There's no price to it. You know what I mean? It costs you nothing to uplift someone. You understand? It costs you nothing to tell somebody that you're doing a great job. you know what I mean, that you are enough. It costs nothing. And these are the things that we need to be doing, because ezinye izinto they're deep, right? You can't there's a lot of problems that we all face from our own individual perspective. Ezinye zihambiselana neendaba zomsamo and whatever, but so you can't really solve my problem, but I can guarantee you ukuthi kukhona logo ozokusho kimi that is going to have such an impression that mhlambe those thoughts that I was having of taking my life tonight, I'm no longer going to have them, because now Maraza said this. You understand what I'm saying? And it makes sense. And let me hold on just a little bit longer. You know what I mean? So for me, it's the simple and little things. But we all need each other. Like, this world is rough. You know, it's not what it used to be. Financially, everyone is struggling. Every single person is struggling. You know, I get umuntu who's balling, and you know, people like to put on this facade on social media that everything is okay, but we all know. You understand? We all know it's not as easy as they make it look. You know, we're all dealing with trauma. We're dealing with all kinds of things. You know, so you don't have to go far to find somebody that's going through something. You don't have to look very far. You understand? Umakhelwane wakho, I can guarantee is going through something. You understand what I mean? So that's it. But for me, like, hey, I'm just I'm just emotional right now, because, like I said, you can say one little thing and it will change somebody's life. Not even change their life, it will save their lives, Buffett.
Yeah, but ngicabanga ukuthi into engiyibonayo mina la mfethu, umuntu angaba namamiliyoni nqwaba imali, ngibe ne-1,000 ngibuye ngamnalutho, but ngicabanga ukuthi mina impilo yami menenjabulo nothando towards abantu abakeduze kwami, towards omunye umuntu engingamazi, ngoba kuthiwa uma usuka kini, like mina ngumuntu wasemakhaya, uma ngisuka ekhaya kodwa eshula le Potchefstroom ngize eThekwini noma ngiye eGoli, kuthiwa umfowenu yomthola phambili, okusho ukuthi kumele ngithande bonke abantu, ngibahloniphe le ngiyakhona, ukuze ngizokwazi ngifike ngiphile kahle nabanye abantu. Yabona le nto leyo. Ngicabanga ukuthi mesingaspreada lolo thando lelo, mesingakwazi ukuthi sivulelane eminyango la ungena khona, uvulela omunye okulandelayo, noma ngaba umathi usukaphi, mvulele, because uyambona ukuthi ulambele lento leyo soyiwinile wena. Mhlephulele kuloku kuncane onako mfowethu, asispreadeni uthando, asithandeleni, sivulelane eminyango nje kade usho bafo, njengoba nje kuhlezi kupreacher na umfethu loshili kade hlezi ayipreacher leyo ukuthi bafethu asivulelane eminyango, asithandaneni bafethu, asibumbaneni, because manje ezinye izizwe ziyahleka. Sihlekisa kwezinye izizwe ngenxa yokuthi thina asinikani uthando, and they always keep like to each other. Bona bayahloniphana, bona bayazana ukuthi kuseyigazi lami leli. Yabo, ngoba mfethu umfowenu akuyena umfowenu ngoba kuwumuntu ozalwa naye.
No.
Yabo, usisi wakho akuyena usisi wakho ngoba kuwumuntu ozalwa naye. Yabo,
ngoba ningabantu
nobabili. Yebo mfethu, lokhu kuncane mfethu onakho, uma ukupha omunye umuntu kuyanda kuwena. Lokho kuncane onakho uma ukupha omunye umuntu kusave omunye umuntu yena okunika yena wakubo, noma yena mzalayo ugazi lakhe. Ayibona le nto leyo. So ngicabanga uthando luyashoda, ngeke uzophile kahle unamamiliyoni mfowethu kodwa ungazwani namuntu, ngoba imali yakho uzoyi-enjoya kanjani? Ngeke uyi-enjoye, awusizi umuntu mfowethu.
Ayisho lutho.
Yabo, imali into engasho lutho. Ngicabanga uthando luhamba phambili, ngoba kini ungaba nemali but bangaku-appreciate uma ufika, cause umuntu ongenayo injabulo, umuntu ongakhombisi noma wenza into ukuthi uyenza ngothando, noma usiza umuntu wakini egcekeni, noma ngabe ufika naleyo grosa leyo, ufika mhlawumbe ukhuluma ukweyisa, yabona, ngoba uwazi ukuthi wena i-breadwinner la endlini, noma wena i-breadwinner lapha kini. Yabona,
akuzukuba mnandi lokho kudla lokho, ngeke kuze kwehle kahle lokho kudla.
Angeke umuntu ozokuthanda, uzoba mfethu lo muntu okuthi mengenwa kunyunde nengane isocungana iyohlala lapha kugogo noma iyogona ngumawayo, ngenxa yokuthi iyazi lo muntu ongenawo umuntu orong. Kungena umalume oyisdaka wala ekhaya, afika angena umalume abangumsindi
aqabule wonke umuntu wathi akuthanda hake.
Yebo, kuhlekwe kube mnandi, yasina ziwele phansi noma dance noma enzeni, because unothando uhlezi ngiphi, abantu bamthandela leyo nto kini endlini kuqala before aye ngaphandle.
Yazi isikhathi esiningi futhi Gambu labo malume labo usuke ephume engaphethe lutho, abuye engaphethe lutho, kodwa ebuye edakwe manje, ngoba bonke abantu bayamthanda, bayamthengela.
Yes, uthi afika ejointini uyabanga ukuthi hey, woza la wena sohlala nobani manje, sophuza nobani manje yabo. Hayi kabi nakhona. Ingoba nomba ufuna uzosondela insizwa ngoba umuntu onothando mfethu. Yabona so ngicabanga uthando lubaluleke kakhulu than imali mfethu yabo. Thina kumele thina sibumbe lokho kuqale. And then bese siyabona ukuthi yini enye ilandelayo.
Hayi
Because
uqinisile.
mongazokwazi inhliziyo yomunye umuntu mfethu angeke uzube nalutho yabo. So wena Simphiwe bafu ngizokwenzela isibonelo. Ngizokwenzela isibonelo nje ngoMaraz. Ngizokwenzela isibonelo ngoMaraz. Yabo mina ngiyarap yabo. So uMaraza ungibone ungibone uMaraza mina ku social media yabona le nto leyo last year. Last year Maraza noma last
2020.
Yeah, last of last. Ungibone ku social media last of last ku KZN lockdown cipher. Yabo. And ngicansi out of ama-thousands ama-rapper la e-KZN imina kuphela owayegola i-studio sakhe.
Yep.
Yabo. And uthande ka-receiver laphayana mfethu. Ey, le enye experience mina. Indlela angishisa ngayo enye experience mina. Yabo. Kwabe ngathi kade sazana. Even kubani esasinabo engangiqala ukubabona siyodla inyama komayimayi.
Yeah.
Fethu kuya le sishintshe itudio kuya siya kuyangithuna sike endlini lapha kuyena. Mfethu yonke indawo.
Namanje ingane zami isakubuza mfethu. Namanje ingane zami isakubuza.
Because mfethu izinto mfethu ezibalekile uthando into ebalekile mfethu. Appreciate omunye umuntu menza azizwe ukuthi wamukelekile naye la efika khona la ukhona wena mfethu. Izinga lakho Maraza zange zalisebenzise ethiwa mina. Yabo le nto leyo. Kunalokho mfethu ngareceive uthando kuyena ngareceive inhlonipho ngabona siyabona ke lo umfethu. And sizwana ngale ndlela naye yabona le nto leyo nami ngaze ngiabuse ukuthi uMaraza wangivulela inhliziyo yakhe wangikhomisa umndeni wakhe sekufana ngimthatha noba kanjani cha ngihlonipha umfowethu yabona le nto leyo and ngibuyele enkulumeni engizwe kuMaraza eqaleni yokuthi kade vusa uSiphamandla lapha emgumbululweni ngubweni ekseni ngovivi
yebo
yabona le mpahla kade wenza iyona impela ke le yayikho enye
shaka bam.
Yabona-ke lokho fa uqhubeke nako ke lokho
awumhluphi mfethu
yebo awumhluphi mfethu uzoza understand sekukeduze ukuthi understand kuba sena-13 yabo awumhluphi mfethu umnika isinkwa akasebenzi akazi lutho umnika isinkwa kodwa yabona le nto leyo because uzokwazi indoda iyavuka iyephi iyosebenzela umndeni wayo
ayivuka
indoda iyavuka yes unosisi angithi
yebo
wena mase uphelelwa amandla sowugugile uba uzosebenzela usisi wakhe if usisi wakhe esake ekhaya engakogani uyena
yebo
bani uzosebenzela uma wakhe uyena
yebo
yabona le nto leyo thina ngicathi sikhuliseke kamnandi saba ile ndlu le yebalela iminyama asifana laba bamhlophe thina noma ngabe sonomuzi wakho kodwa awukhohlwa la usuka khona awukhohlwa ukuthi ekhaya khona bani uyamphakela uma wakho kulento odla kulona uma ngeke udla inyama noma wakho uyazi udla amadumbe kodwa ngoba senginefamily akamphakeli yabo so lento yenza kuyona ibaluleke kakhulu mfethu like mina ngizokwenzela isibonelo mina wena Simphiwe ngikhulele ekhaya mina boma yabo ngenxa yezimo eziningi ezithize ezingikhungetse kodwa azikaze zingiphazamise emqondweni angazi ngizivumele zingiphazamise emqondweni uma wami mina washona ngifunda 5 yabo and unyaka usanda kuqala ubaba wami wahamba kuna 2 years yabo
wahamba emhlabeni noma wahamba nje
no wahamba nje kufanele ukuthi wahamba emhlabeni ngoba wahamba nje yabo so wahamba kuna 2 years yabo wathi mehamba wena mfowethu ngize ngambona eseshonile ngo-2018 ngoba mina omdala kuyena yabo kwayimanxa ngibo naye le ndoda sayilele la soyigqiba ngaso isikhathi yabo and mina cabanga ukuthi mina kumele ngidlale le ndima ukuthi imina omdala ngaleso sikhathi kuyona le ndoda and ngakhuluma ngalalanga mfethu ngakhuluma ngazi ngabizwe eceleni ngathiwa ndoda une-enga ngathi hayi enganginawo mengihlambuluka
nazo
yabo kwamanje kulesimo sokuthi akunandaba namuntu okhona but ngikhuluma into engaphakathi kumina mengingayishongo namhlanje ke ngiphinde ngisho
ngakuphinde uqiniseke
yes so ekhaya boma ngikhule khona insizwa-ke lapha mina mfowethu. Omalume bami bayinsizwa mfowethu, insizwa ngempela. Ngikhule mina ngesibhaxi.
To whoever
Ngakhula
just
ngendlela
called
eqondile
right
mfowethu. Hayi
now, I'll
isibhaxi
call you
lesi
back.
sokuthi ngiyabulawa, isibhaxi sokuthi ngiyakhiwa, yabo.
Yeah.
Ngakhulele ey'nkomweni, iy'nkomo ngaziqala ngimncane, kwaba yigaba amagusha, kwaba yimbuzi, kwaze kwawo iy'nkomo. So iy'gaba zempilo ngiziphilile, ngaba umfana, ngantshontsha iy'thelo, ngafunda kwale. Yabo, thina ekhaya
Wasawusinga
kwethu
inyosi.
ingoma sawodla inyosi, yonke into, amagigi, ayikho into engingayazi mina mfowethu. Ngabuya
Leli
ngizele kusukela
phaphu.
ngimdala.
Yeah.
Yonke into mfowethu. Ngaze ngagqoka isihlanga impela, ngaze ngaba insizwa nami. Yabona yonke leyo. Kodwa manje sengisinike wona Simphiwe, ngifuna ukuthi yona mfowethu impilo inothando nezigaba moyindoda wena mfowethu. Ukhula ngokubona, ukhula ngokuthi uhamba nezinye iy'nsizwa, ukhula ngokuthi uzwana nomuphi omunye umfowethu ofika kuwena ngaleso sikhathi. Uyamhlonipha, umnika indawo yakhe. Yabo,
Yeah.
ngiyazi sile endaweni engifani wena mfowethu, kodwa imiqondo ngoba siyakwazi sixoxe sizwane, shuthi siyafana.
Yebo mfowethu. Yebo. Kambu
Yabo,
ngiyaqolisa ukubamba lapho bafethu. Ngisacela ukuthetela khona omunye ozama ukusifonela lana ke sizwe ukuthi yena ufuna ukuthayisela athini.
Okay, sure.
Sisabambe lapho nje Simphiwe. Ngicela ukudlulisa ukubonga mfowethu ngokuthi uthathe lesi sikhathi ukhulume uvule mfowethu ubhodle inxese ngakho konke osokulahlekele. Kepha ngoba usekhona bafa. Ngoba usekhona kusekuningi osazokwakha and
befundi
yeah ukukhula mfethu kuhlungu kodwa mfethu ukukhula. Hello kunjani? You're live ngoMaraza njengamanje ku communion sawubona?
Ngiyabonga sawubonani njani?
Siyaphila njani?
Ya nami ngiyaphila ukhuluma noSingazi.
Hawu Singazi wavele wanephimbo leSingazi ngempela.
Esingaza kumuzwa kahle mfowethu, usholo kude mfowethu, umkhulule ngalapho
Simphiwe noGambu.
Yebo Simphiwe noGambu angazi noma bazokuzwa yini kahle ngoba bona bakutwitter kodwa ngizolonga ngibaphendulela nje uthini Singazi?
Hayi mina bengifuna ukubingelela kumnandi ukunizwa nikhuluma nabantu besilisa. Yabo nami ngifunda okuningi yabo ukuthi nicabanga kanjani ukuthi mina kangihlali nobhuti bami yabo, so ngifuna ukwazi ama struggles as men that you guys go through so that nami I can be there for my brothers, so that lento le enzeke umuzi ingenzeki futhi yabo,
njengoba eshilo Simphiwe.
Yebo so nje mina kumnandi ukulalela, angifuni ukuphawula kakhulu. Yeah bengifuna nje futhi nokuncoma ishow yakho ukuthi ngiyayithanda.
Ngiyabonga Singazi. Wena kodwa unjani?
Mina ngiyaphila mfethu, uthi nje lento eyenzakalile umuzi ilo ngathini isusa amabhandishi enhlizweni zethu ngoba yabo inhliziyo iyancenga mfethu yabo, mayilimele uyancenga ukuthi be right. And then manje kwenzeka lento le and then ayaxebuka amabhandishi
axebuke kungakapholi
yabo. Usucabanga nezinto nawe ukuthi it could have been me, you know, it could have been me because now you've been there, you've been in that dark place. But otherwise ngiright ngizosho njalo ngokuthi nje ngiright, impilo iyaqhubeka, fanele iqhubeke.
Iyaqhubeka impilo Singazi kodwa ayiqhubeki ngaphandle kwakho, ayiqhubeki ngaphandle kwethu, kumele sihambisane sihambe sisonke. So ngizokwamukela kwanamhlanje ukuthi uthi uright, kodwa uma ngabe nanganoma yinini ngethemba ukuthi uzobe ukhona ngesonto elizayo nakuleli noma ngabe kuthiwa ukuzolalela nje kuphela mhlezana uzizwe ngathi ukhona ongathi kuthe kuyasinda kakhudlwana ukuthathe mfethu ukudedele ukubike ebandla. IsiZulu sihle ngisithanda mangabe sesithi isisu somhambi singangenso yenyoni, and lapho kulezi insuku zanamhlanje akusakhulunywa ngokudla kuphela, sekukhulunywa nangokudla kwenhliziyo, ukuthi lokho kudla okuncane lokho kumisa uSingazi uthi sawubona sesikunjani, ube nosuku olumnandi engathi unganenhlanhla kuzo zonke izinto ofuna ukuyozenza. Akuthathi lutho oluningi kumina kepha kushiya olukhulu kuwena. bese sithi
Yebo,
futhi
yebo,
injobo enhle ithungelwa ebandla, okusho ukuthi ukuze sikwazi ukuthi siqhakaze sonke for the betterment of all of us, kumele sikwazi ukuthi size eshashalazini elifana naleli and be able to be vulnerable and lay our problems bare. Wazi ukuthi akukho muntu ozoza ezobona isici ezokujaja engathi yena uyishida lemhlophe qwa. Sonke sineyinkinga, sonke sinamachashaza ethu. Kepha asikho isandla esiyigeza sisodwa, ziyagezana. So ngokuhlangana sihlanganyele kanje, injobe esiyithungayo ngelinye ilanga iyoqhakaza ikhanye, kuvimbeleke ukuthi kube khona abanye omuzwe ndlovu abagcina bezizwe ngathi indlela yokuphumula iyona yodwa ile ayithathile kuphela. So ngiyabonga kakhulu futhi wesinqazi ngokuthi uyinikeze isikhathi sokuzwa ukuthi iy'nsizwa zona ubuhlungu ey'bhekene nabo buyini. Akusho ukuthi obakho ubuhlungu abusho lutho nobakho bubaluleke kakhulu, kodwa lokho kufisa ukwazi ukuthi ube a better support system for your brothers when they need you. And I'm hoping that they live up to it and they live in a way that makes them deserving of that support from you. So they provide you the respect and the protection and the love and the warmth that you deserve to create a space where you also have an overflowing cup so that you are able to pour into theirs. Ngiyathemba ngabe kuthiwa iyona environment okuyona leyo.
Ngiyabonga amazwi akho. Ngiyabonga
kakhulu. And thank you so much for the wonderful donation. I really appreciate it.
Yebo, nami ngiyabonga.
Yeah, benginamahloni ukukhuluma ngayo because bengafuni kube ngathi lolu hlelo lwenzele lokho, even though iyasiza kakhulu and trust me usungayibala as omunye wabantu abacontribute ekuthenini uhlelo olufana nalolu luqhubeke, ogesi no-internet nani. So
ngiyabonga, na next week ngizobe ngikhona njalo nje.
No, ngiyabonga kakhulu, ngizokwenza sure
ungibingeleleke kulabo abafethu laba abanye noma bengangizwa.
Uyabona nje uGambu uthe ngeke waphuma ku-Twitter wahamba waya ku-YouTube kumanje ukhomentile, uyakuzwa uthi inhliziyo iyathuthuma masikhuluma kanje. Ngiyayithakasela kakhulu le nkulumo, ayiqhubeke njalo nje. Yebo, ayikhuleke uyakuzwa.
Bye.
Alright ke sesinqazi, ube nobusuku obuhle. Siyabonga.
Nawe ngokunjalo.
Yeah, soqhubeka sithemba ukuthi nazo uzoqhubeka ulalela.
Yeah.
Alright. Ngiyakuthanda yezo. Angikwazi kodwa ngikuthanda. Ngiqinisile njalo. Angikwazi Sinqazu kodwa ngiyakuthanda. Angikwazi Simphiwe kodwa ngiyakuthanda. Gambo ngiyakuthanda.
Ngithanda namfowethu. Mfowethu wena wasekhaya.
Wemfowethu ususha kanjani fast kanje?
Mina ngowuphela ngensizwa.
Into zakho wena awusuka nini madoda? Ayihlabi yachakadula nje mayiqosha imisi ishoba. Kunomfowethu lana engimazi kakhulu olalele, ngimemile ukuthi akhulume but mhlawumbe uzokhuluma ngelinye ilanga and uyothi mangabe ekhuluma siyoba sikhulu leso sinkwa leso, siyokwazi ukuhlephula sibe baningi. Njoman, if I know you're listening, it doesn't have to be today. Whenever it is, this will keep going every single Saturday. Njalo ngomgqibelo njalo ngesabatha every single Saturday. Communion ngo-8 ebusuku nami uSiphamandla kaMhlongo waziwa ngelika Maraza. So sikhuluma nje ngokuthi unjani. Ayiqali lento lengomuzwe ndlovu, ayizukuphela ngaye. Akuyona indawo yamadoda yokukhuluma, akuyona indawo yabafazi, akuyona indawo yamadoda usakhuluma ngabafazi, akuyona indawo yokuthi abafazi bakhuluma ngamadoda. Indawo yokuthi umuntu akhiphe okusesifubeni, ngisho ngabe kuthiwa kungani, alalelwe, athakaselwe, akhoselwe, a-understandwe, aqondisiswe, anikezwe intokomalo. Bese uma ngabe lidinga usizo, ecela izaluleko, azithole, angakutholi ukwehlulelwa. Ngibonga kakhulu kunina nonke esenithatha isikhathi sokukhuluma. Ngiyabonga Simphiwe, nxa semfowethu ngale ngozi wavelana nayo. Ngiyabonga kakhulu Ngiyabonga kakhulu Gambo nsizwa wami.
Wethu. Hayi bafethu akubonga mina bafethu ithuba elikhulu kakhulu leli ukuthi sibumbane nje sisonke siyindlu emnyama wesifazane wesilisa sikwazi ukubonisana sibeke iy'nkinga zethu ndawonye bafethu sibalulekane kube mnandi kuyenziwayo ngoba kahle kahle fase sigweme lesi simo singaqhubeki bafethu.
Impela.
Indlu emnyama fayande kunokuba iphungule. Ngicabanga fast yebo mfethu ngicabanga fast sibe abanumzane ngathini sonke kanye kanye landela abanye bafethu abanumzane ukuthi lelo galelo nathi kumele sibe impela senze sure ukuthi impilo noma impilo yethu iqhubeka ngendlela ifanele futhi akekho umuntu ophinde abhekane nale nkinga kanje ezodinga ukuthi athathe lakhe igazi nomphefumulo wakhe ancishe iy'ngane nathi yabo impilo nobumnandi bokuthi siphile nayo. So nje bafethu ngiphakame nethuba lokubonga elikhulu kakhulu. Ya. Nangesonto elizayo noma inini ngithanda ngaphezu kwaleyo mculo-ke ngiyithanda kakhulu-ke lesi kuyona njengamanje ngathi sizokwakha mfowethu isizwe kakhulu. Ngibonge nje mfowethu siphile nawe mfowethu wena Marazi ukaMhlongo.
Ngiyabonga mfethu ngizolokhu ngenze njalo. Simphiwe mkhulu.
Nami ngiyabonga bafethu ngibonga kakhulu you anazi enokwenzile mfowethu Gambo hayi amazwi wakhe angakhile mfowethu angifuna uqamba amanga mhlambe uNkulunkulu umevumile ngajabula ukuthi ngelinye ilanga nje yabona ngeke ngihlangane nawe ngokubona in person but ngibonga kakhulu bafethu this means the world to me.
Ngibonga mina mfowethu. Uyabona nje ngokuhamba kwesikhathi inhlelo yami ukuthi le platform le ibe nengqungquthela a gathering, a conference lapho esingahlangana khona abakwaziyo ukuza size nje sizobonana singezange ukuzokhuluma ngokubuhlungu sizokhuluma ngendlela esesizane ngayo kunyaka wonke ukuthi uyazi ngalesi sikhathi esikhuluma ngoFebruary khathi kwenzeka ukuthi nokuthi kwenzeka ushintsho olunje nolunje empilweni yami ungibona nje sengila sikwazi ukuzohlangana sibungaze and celebrate each other and celebrate ukuthi sikhethe ukuqhubeka ebunzimeni saqhubeka sahlala kuwo lo mhlaba ohlabayo kepha ngenxa yokuthi amazwi esikwazi ukunikana wona ayakwazi ukusinikeza amahlibhasi esizohamba ngawo phekwa lameva lawa so that the road will never be easy but it can be less difficult. And if we can just make it that less difficult for each other, sikwazi ukuthi sibe nendlela esikwazi ukuhlangana kuyo. Ngiyojabula kakhulu. So Simphiwe, isifiso sakho nami kuyisifiso sami. As umuntu okwaseke waba nenhlanhla yokuhlangana naye uGambo, ngiyojabula kabi mhlezana nginibona senibhekena amehlo namehlo, ubone ukuthi lensizwa lento eyikhulumela namhlanje ayibingayiqali futhi ayigcini. Into eyoyisho nakuwena senibhekene uyinsizwa yakhayo enkulumeni yakhe nikhuluma noma enkulumeni yakhe ecula and i-platform efana nale ngiyakhela abantu abafana nani. Ngiyabonga insizwa. Mayihlangene ogqokweni nje ihlangene kahle.
Ubala lolo.
Ukuphi nendawo Simphiwe?
Ngokuhlala ngiseMidrand.
Usemidrand?
Awathi.
Hayi Gambo ngizohlangana noSimphiwe kaMayimayi bese siyakuvideo call.
Ubala.
Ubala lola.
Ubala ngifuna ungivideo call. Hayi bona ufuna ungihalisela.
Ngishaya uGabgabi. Ngishaya ngoGabgabi. Yo, Pethu. Oh wow, whoa. Hayibo. Simphiwe.
Bafo.
I just looked at ama-DM wethu ngifuna ukudMela indlela ukuthi sixhumane khona soyakwamama sodlinyana. Sesike sakhuluma hayibo imasejende kanje. Hey, weqambo ngeke ukhole bethu lemjanga amthumelela iBhayibheli fana.
Kudala le. I think it was 2 or 3 years back.
Yeah, 3 years back. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Okay, mfowethu, I know. It's going to be interesting ukuzwa ukuthi sesikhule kanjani. Ngiyabonga kakhulu bafethu. Ngizokuthinta ngithi yami ngiqinisile ngempela. Uma sithola isikhathi nje sizame nami I'll try and work through my anxiety and make my way down to my isihlangano ogqokweni mfowethu.
No.
Enjoy nje inyama.
Makwenzeke. Makube njalo.
Makona lapho lapho ma-estate ukhetha makana salad lapho kuwabo.
Oh, asparagus.
Kama kunuka isibhedlela.
Kuthi intongo lapho nyama ngaphakathi futhi ufana ni.
Lalela kunopompom ophekwa kwamayimayi ngiyawugeja unosuku lwawo. Ngifuna nje uyoyishaya nophuthu ngishebe nopompom kunjengoba kunjalo. Siyophuma sishipha wesimpiwe.
No. Akwenzeke.
Alright bafethu. Ngiyabonga kakhulu insizwa nibe nobusuku obuhle.
Asibonga bafethu.
Alright bafethu nginithanda kakhulu. Sokhuluma futhi ngesonto elizayo Communion 5. Yebo. And that's that for today's episode of Communion. If anyone wants to add anything or via YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch, let me know. No pressure. We are bringing the show to an end. I didn't think this was going to go for 2 hours because I started pretty late. But the conversation was very constructive. Please always look at these conversations as people expressing what they're going through. Don't ever take them personally. I'm not saying anyone said anything that could possibly be taken personally, but in the era of the internet, it's easy to just grab something out of context and generalize it and make it mean something about you even when it wasn't ever about you. And that's what makes people retreat into their own shells and be afraid to speak. That's what made me stop this platform the first time, and I'm not making the same mistake again. It does more good for others than whatever level of harm it might do to me to receive negative comments. It's not easy to ignore them. I'd be lying if I said it was. It is absolutely not easy. It is borderline unfair to expect it to be easy. However, we soldier on. And I took this upon myself, but I realized that I'm not going to be carrying it alone. I love you all. Thank you all for coming and watching. Mukundoleli sinokuhle Kevin Makale uthi hey guys sawubona mfowethu a little bit late but thank you for joining in any case. Kambu SYA Muslim Lamba Maraza nkabe yami uthe Brave Beats. Yo bro, this is deep. Brave, it's been the longest time bro. I hope you're well. Kevin QT, big up Brody, welcome. Fix RSA, Percy Tokum Luli, Mr. Sky the Kid, Oimbawul, Shisape, Singazu Siyabonga, Sobonana futhi ngesonto elizayo ngeSabatha Saturday, Mgqibelo at 8 p.m. Gladwin, you're amazing. MarazA's, it's been a long time, my brother. Hope the new year has been treating you well. The new year has been treating me like life, dog. And that's all that matters. It's what it is. Anyway, I mean this from the bottom of my heart. If you're watching right now, ngiyakuthanda, nakuranza, ngiyawurata, I love you, te amo. Thank you for tuning in. You matter, ngiyakubona. You are valid, you are valuable, and you do not need confirmation. Please, have a night where you are kinder to yourself than you were yesterday. And just keep turning up the notch of kindness, however much you can, every night from here on. Thank you for joining me for today's communion. I'll be seeing you guys again next week, live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch and YouTube for the best experience, and a Twitter space to accompany it at MarazA's on all platforms. Kasim Mtolo says thank you for this informative stream. Thank you for tuning in. Rest in peace. Rest in peace to the lights. Rest in peace, Ricardo Muzwendlovu Makado. Cotton eaters never die. I really wish you'd multiplied before you left. I really wish it multiplied before you left. I love you.